Boom, we are live. I just have it as 41 seconds on the countdown, so I guess I'm hoping usually about a 25-second lag. Good to see you all. Great to see a great crowd in early, indeed. I don't have a lot of topics for tonight, although I've said that many times and ended up not having actually not having enough time. So I guess that happens. I'm using the YouTube gaming interface, which I think Icarus18 there was telling. Oh no, actually it was Fox was telling me comes from the Twitch interface. In which case that is awesome. I guess that was a good acquisition. So I guess let's just start by saying hello. And I actually got some music ready for later on, a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, good evening to one and all, starting with Fox Morris. Great to see you, as always. Alan Dick in there as well. Subete no Kandi. I don't know if that's something to do with Grayson Yosuke, but guess it must be. We got Freestyle Fox. That's right, the person who just told me this is from the Twitch interface, and I love this. I love having the whole thing down the side. I like it being black because you know you don't go back once you've gone there. We will be talking about White Day today. I saw some people talking about it in the comments, and you know, I know that some people feel like every day is White Day. Sorry. But no, it has a special meaning in Japan. We will be getting to that. What else we got here? We got you know what? Everything is a bit pinkish tinge in the background because I've got it on this sort of night mode. But let's disable that for now. And there it is. See, it goes all white there. It looks a lot kind of better. I can actually see the screen in front better as well. So anyway, got Maralagos, good to see us indeed. Back to you. Aphex, great to see you. Good morning where you are. Robin, 1967, Canada, always good to see you. Oh yeah. We got Aphex, yes indeed. Nothing for White Day, unfortunately for me. Well, that's the way I guess it rolls. Although, wait a minute. So that's right. White Day guys give stuff. That's right. So it depends on whether you don't have to give anything unless you got something on Valentine's Day. So it's kind of rigged to be good for the dudes in Japan. So there you go. It's good to see like Japan there. How's it? My South African friend from Saga. We have who else we got here? We got Freestyle Fox there. I just mentioned before. Let the games begin indeed, says Razal Gul. There's Lucas Mercer there. Sup indeed, Sean bro. Mata Gaijinka, Gabriel, great to see you. Ben Duncan, what's wrong with White Day? Well, you know, I just think you're not supposed to draw too much attention to it. That's pretty much all. Now White Day, we'll get to White Day. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But White Day can be expensive. Well, it's only, bear in mind, White Day is where women give presents to. No, it's where guys give presents to women. But it's limited only to women who gave them already something for Valentine's Day. So it's kind of like hangaishi. It's a bit of giving a return. I suppose if you're single, it might be if you have many girlfriends. Yes, it could be quite expensive. Yes, that's right. It was very expensive for me. So much money to spend on White Day. What could I do? No, I never had that problem. But if you are having that problem, then good on you, I suppose. Good morning, Barrier. Good morning, Mr. Cordy Chip. Who else we got in here? We got morning. Lots of people saying good morning over there. Oh, there's me timing out there. Let's keep that alive. Elvin Ing, great to see you indeed. There's Ben Duncan. Who else we got down here? Say hello if you're watching now, just so I can see that you're there, and say hello, and then we will get into the topics. Is Icarus18? In fact, I'm flying through here, I think. There we go. Just saw somebody. Yes, someone Ben Duncan telling me about Emerald Lagas, who says BAM, apparently. Well, boom, I like boom better. I like the lower pitch, the lower frequency. It's important, the frequency, but he seems to be about the same number of subs, probably a more active channel. Renee Humpman, boom, great to see you. Yes, but who knows? He seems to be good at cooking. I actually just subscribed, so I'm going to go and check that out. KNS TV. You came here to rock the party, it seems. That's right. If you didn't watch that video, that's right. You've still got time. Get out there fast, though, because that's right. Ahmed Usul, that's right, talking about faxes. Big in Algeria. Well, there we go. Big in Japan and Algeria. I will be talking about faxes. I don't actually have a specific news story about faxes, but although I did discover the Sharp Fappy, which is almost the one that I bought. Actually, it was exciting. But yes, who else we got here? We got Herb Toka. Oh, we got Tai Nakamura. Great to see you, sir. All the way from Flint, Michigan. We have Vero-chan. Oh, Vero-chan. You're not the Vero-chan that I know, are you? It's good to have any sort of Vero-chan along, of course, but good to see Vero-chan. We got Tai Nakamura, we got Mon Hunti. Who else? We got Bradley Ford. Excellent to see you, sir. Yes, there is going to be more butter rage today. Look out for that, because there's another story about the scandal that is behind. You cannot fax butter. If you could, I would have bought 10 faxes already. Okay. Sharp. Sounds painful. I guess that could be it. Indeed. You spread the butter on the toast. That's right. Wrong topics. NeoBear66. Yeah, that's a bit creepy the way that you put it like that, NeoBear66, but I guess it's valid. You said a fax yesterday. Well, every day can be fax day in Japan. That's the great thing about Japan. We are caught up with the topics. I'm kind of curious. Oh, wrong person there. Let's go back. Everything's blacked out. Whoa, what is that? Whoa. Okay, now everything is freaking out. I shouldn't have done that. Crikey. Let's get out of this. Just live. No. You know what? I'm gonna have to refresh this. Boom. Okay, I lost my stuff there for a minute, but back with the comments. Shubas, great to see you. Shubas from Panama. Always good to see you. Wow, there's a great crowd in here as always. I can see my video just freaking out about 20 seconds ago now. What have I done? Don't worry, it's still going well. We are still here. Picture on the front there, that's the Sunwolves, the Japan rugby team. I watched them yesterday. They almost won and they lost again. I guess they're going to have that going on for a while. Never mind. Hey, the technical difficulties, that part. Life is technical difficulties. More so for some people than others, of course, but yes, that is how that is how we roll. By the way, a word I mentioned, I've done a little Facebook post, I think some of you saw, of my warning of what Hanami is like. Hanami is cold. In 17 Hanamis in Japan, nearly all of them I remember being almost hypothermic cold. Hey Yasa, great to see you. That's right, where the technology fails and the endings are awkward, that's right. Yeah, it's almost always cold. The thing about March in Japan is that you can have anything in terms of a high temperature. I'm sorry, I don't do Fahrenheit. Help the Fahrenheit people here, the Celsius people who know. But you can get a high temperature in Tokyo. Anything from, like, tomorrow's high temperature is going to be 6 degrees, or you can have anything up to like 25 degrees. And of course we would prefer to have a sunny, lovely, comfortable 25 degrees when we get around to the April 2nd Hanami. But tomorrow's going to be 6 degrees, and today I just about froze my private parts off. Yes, Channel Ralph, hey Hiko, long time subscriber here, but first time saying hello from Australia. Oh yeah, hello from Australia. If I'm a Kiwi, why do I speak with a perfect Aussie accent? Well, believe me, I am told from both my Australian and my Kiwi friends that I speak with neither an Australian or a Kiwi accent. I'm guessing you must be down Adelaide way if you think this is a normal accent. They speak like me down there. My family, I grew up in Victoria. And my mum is in Brisbane now, and you have a Toowoomba accent. Toowoomba is kind of a Tennessee accent of Australia. Victoria's kind of a very sharp accent. I really like the Adelaide accent. I can do like 5 minutes with an Australian accent if you'd like me to. In fact, I can even do more of a Kiwi accent. I go back to New Zealand now, everyone says I have a South African accent, which I don't, but we have a lot of South African expats in New Zealand and people get a little bit confused. But anyway, just a warning, it's freezing cold at the moment, and it really could be with the Hanami as well, so just bring lots of warm clothes, be prepared for that. And yes, the big difference, if you want to hear me not speak, well, here's the thing, if I'm saying 66 fish and chips, I'm a Kiwi, right? Aussies don't say it like that. If I wanted to be an Australian, I'd say 66 fish and chips, and you'd be done with it. I'd just be talking like this for the rest of the show, and it would be a slightly higher pitch. it would be a little bit, I'd find it a little bit more annoying myself, but there again, when I go back to Australia and I'm hanging out with my mum, I pretty much end up talking like this, because you just don't get that very well understood if you talk like this any other way. So yes, and then I come back to Japan and I find out that I've started talking like this, like a bloody drongo, and I don't know what to do about it, so I just stop. But yes, indeed, and no, it is not fish and chips, it's fish and chips. It's the correct way to pronounce it, and the South Africans say it like us too. But anyway, if you want to hear the sound, does it sound the same to you? It's a little bit of a higher pitch. The I's are quite different. They have a bit more of a twang with the pronunciation. And I like to think that the Kiwi accent is actually a lot nicer sounding. But there again, the Australian accent is kind of more fun and more friendly sounding. So what, anyway. But I do get to talk like this. And I did originally talk like an Australian before I moved to New Zealand. And then I actually picked up a proper accent. So what can I say? Most Kiwis sound like Kiwis, not me. Well, anyway, not at all, Channel Rolf. Good to see you. Good to see you there. And it's actually fun to talk about accents. So, White Day. White Day, they made a day for me. What can I say? No, it is good to, believe me, every day is White Day in most parts of the world, actually. And don't forget to appreciate it. But no, White Day specifically is an extra holiday rather than Valentine's Day, where generally guys kind of send love letters or whatever it's about. It wasn't really a very big deal in New Zealand, actually, but whatever Valentine's Day is. But I think it's more generally about dudes buying flowers and chocolates for women or doing all that sort of stuff. In Japan, they managed to market it to get it into 2 days. There's actually 3 days in Japan. There's White Day, there's Valentine's Day, where women have to confess their love for whatever man they have a crush on, and then Valentine's Day, where the man gets to decide, well, if they want to respond or not. It takes a lot of heat off the men. So I think Valentine's Day can be kind of a stressful day for men in some countries, because there's a performance expectation. Hey, Phoenix 87 and Nowhere Man, good to see you guys have joined. So the thing with Japan is that there's a reverse day. Valentine's Day is about chocolate. White Day, when I first got here, was about cookies. But lately I'm seeing like bread shops trying to claim that it's a day that you buy bread. I actually prefer bread, so I'm all cool with that. But yes, and then there is another kind of date night, which is Christmas Eve, which is of course the date that Jesus had a date, I guess. I guess very confusing. Or maybe he dated Santa. Maybe they were cool with that back in those days, and the Christian conservatives have it all wrong. It could be. But anyway, Christmas Eve is a date night, as is Valentine's Day, as is White Day tomorrow, although it's going to be like freezing cold and raining. It probably wouldn't be a good day for a for a date tomorrow, but yeah, do your best with that. Remember to buy some bread or some cookies, I don't even know, and sorry if you have to spend lots of money on it. Possibly from having too many girlfriends, in which case congratulations, or too many wives, in which case commiserations. So yes, the facts. I had to buy a fax today. The lad is going to be starting school. That's right, yeah, KFC. That's a fact. It's actually in the Bible. Thank you, Afix. The pre-censored version, anyway. In Japan, the lad is starting school in April. Big thing. He's 6 years old, and so I need to go. The school has all these rules of all the stuff that we have to get. Like you're not allowed to get like stationery with any sort of labeling or anything like this. Is like a public school. This isn't a private school. This is a regular school. But a lot of rules, and the rules were obviously set back during like when the Amish were deciding what fashions they were going to stick with, because there's just a lot of really, they have to wear these Prussian military backpacks that cost a heap of money. They have to wear these special hats. And, they've got these uniforms all sorted out. And yes, whenever the school has to contact, or if you want to say like, little Taro's sick today or whatever, you have to send the message. You have to send it by fax. And so I had to go and buy a fax for that purpose today. Which, yes, I was there with a 90-year-old looking at the faxes, and all of the faxes that were lined up in the Yodobashi camera and Akiba were being advertised with these will have special functionality built in to prevent you being deceived by young people pretending to be your children in need of money. So that was kind of good. It's basically, these are old people's phones, but people still require them. When I signed up for internet with NTT, they asked me to fax them a message, and I had to go up to a convenience store to actually send a fax from the convenience store to NTT to set up an internet account through which you would hope to not need to have to use a fax. It's strange that one of the world's largest telecommunication companies, like NTT, especially one of the most progressive, still requires you to have faxes for that purpose. I have held out until now, but now I need to get one for the school. The other thing is that I had to set up a post office bank account for like paying for school trips and stuff like that, which again is a little bit strange to me. Surely you should be able to use any bank, but there you go. Yeah, whoop whoop, I'm living beside a nightclub. That's right, it's just kind of yeah, it could be that Zach lives near me, or maybe they're on their way to Zach's right now. That could be it. Run, Zach, run. So yes, that's White Day, and that is faxes, just the fax. Let's get into the stuff. It could be an air raid warning, it could indeed. In fact, that is not what I wanted. That is Japan reading. I wanted these Tokyo Tonight topics. It's the DPRK, I think is what you want to say there. Marilai goes, hey Sune, good to see you, man. That's right, the break must be coming soon. 07-1, great to see you, and I'm always keeping it clean. That's right, that's what I do here anyway. 2.5 Oyajis last night. Victor said he had a toothache and he wanted to keep it short, so I thought it was going to be half an hour, but he kept it going for an hour. But that was, yeah. Hey Namaste, great to see you. They're coming back again. Man, these guys, I live like near a big main road now. Not on it, but near it. But, you know, they seem to love running the sirens at full volume and the speakers at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, screw you guys too. So, yes, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. It's the first story. Anyway, taxi fares are coming down, as you may or may not know. Hey, Odie Jr., good to see you. Good morning there. Yes, taxi fares in Tokyo have a fix. The government regulates taxis, apart from Uber, which I think is going to start or whatever. But yes, they're causing a lot of trouble because, you know, the taxi business, you have to follow a lot of rules. You have to pay for a lot of extra insurance. You have to get a lot of safety stuff. The fares are often fixed. The number of cabbies are often fixed, and they're fixed for a purpose of maintaining that economy. And, you know, Uber's cool, but, you know, it kind of screws the whole setup if you're invested, if your life is invested in being a taxi driver. One of the ways that it's fixed in Japan is the minimum fare in most places is 760 yen, I think it is. And that'll give you a ride, a fixed fee for like the first 2 or 3 kilometers, and then in fact maybe it says here actually. So here we go. So for 2 kilometers you get 730 yen, but what they're going to do is they're going to actually make the minimum fare lower. So if you just need to use a taxi for a short distance, which is something that perhaps if you're a foreign tourist you might want to do. You know, you don't know how to get somewhere from a train station. Maybe you want to go like a walking distance, like 1 kilometer. But you know, you'll get a cheaper taxi ride rather than having to pay for 2 kilometers. So that's kind of a good thing. Join Team Sammy. Good to see you there. So yes, they're looking at dropping the fare from 730 down to 460 yen for like half that distance. Apparently this is analogous with other countries, and it's probably a good thing. It might make taxis a little bit more accessible, because it is, like, you know, it is a bit expensive in Japan. Again. Well, I'm guessing they must have caught Osama bin Laden or something like that, because there's a lot of police cars going by at the moment. Viva bicycles, that's right. Indeed, bicycles are awesome, and I've got a story about bicycles coming. They've almost got Osama. I thought they got him the first time, but apparently they are going to get him this time. And yes, that's right, it is actually managed. That's right, there is actually the Transport Ministry manages it. I know in Australia they do it state by state. But yes, in Japan it's nationwide. And you know, let's face it, taxis are used as kind of a way of managing unemployment. Yeah, and by the way, for speaking to taxi drivers, well, he's obviously alive, because that's the only way I can account for all of the noise going on outside, Sean Bro. But yes, in terms of talking to them, there are the taxi fleets are introducing things like little translation devices and things to put into the cabs. To do that, so you know, everyone's going at the moment to try to figure out how to be more more tourist friendly. Ahmed, I will watch out. Thank you for that. And it needs more ghosts. Nice to see you there. Sorry I didn't catch you earlier. So that's all good stuff. Let's have a little talk about butter. So people have been trying to figure out for like 3 years now. This has been an ongoing source of deep rage for me. The fact that just the fact that butter is still in shortages, and it was in shortages because there wasn't enough milk before, but now there's more than enough milk and the butter is still in shortage. And there's been suspicion, thanks to the Nikkei, for continuing to follow up this crazy case of the missing butter. First they thought it was like wholesalers were holding it back, and they investigated that and they found, well, that's not exactly it. It turns out that there is actually some sort of distribution problem of the milk. It's controlled by some co-ops, I don't know, basically sort of communist, circle jerks or something like that. Anyway, that they were holding back the butter which was needed to make the sufficient to make butter, and that's right. The regulatory council, which shouldn't exist because Japan should have just signed up to having butter as part of the TPP, and we could import all the butter that we wanted, and it wouldn't matter about going past the regulatory reform council or the wholesalers of the regional co-ops of farmers that aren't providing enough stuff. And there's an ad there. Well, what can you do? And so indeed, it's interesting to read the quote here from the government's regulatory reform council. Taro Kono, minister in charge of administrative reform, says there is something wrong with the system when pastry shops have no butter. No shit, Sherlock, seriously. I mean, the pastry shops have not had enough butter for like freaking years, and the government actually negotiated to stop getting more butter, even though it was importing these air freight loads of special like communist unlabeled stuff. And they still blocked it from the TPP, which is absolutely ridiculous. The Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, they are fighting measures. So what is this? They're fighting measures to what? I guess to make butter more available, insisting that the co-ops so they don't want the co-ops to be that are holding up the butter production at the moment, because the co-ops are necessary to stabilize farmers' income. It's unclear whether any progress will be made in addressing the butter shortage. So you see, I mean, here it is, right here in the Nikkei. The Ministry of Agriculture and the farmers are opposing measures to stop problems with the supply chain of milk, which are leading to shortages of butter in the country, because they're afraid of their income, i.e. they are actually holding the entire country hostage. They have a gun to our heads, stopping us from getting butter because they're afraid of destabilizing their income, and they actually fought to exclude this from the TPP. Or anything else, and they did that. They succeeded at that, and they're still not even going to fix it domestically because somehow highway robbery is an important part of farmers' income in this country. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty pissed off. I mean, you can see it right here. The Ministry of of Regulatory Reform is here fighting with the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries because the farmers just want to basically starve the entire population to death from lack of butter in order to stabilize their income. I mean, seriously, screw those guys. Screw them. I mean, they're all going to die soon anyway. The average age of farmers in Japan is something like 80-something years old at the moment, or 70-something. But anyway, there's enough butter in the world that I don't need to suffer rationing in the supermarkets in Tokyo, but I do, and it's because of this, and the government doesn't want to fix it because they're the LDP, and they get votes from butter farmers or whatever, and screw them. So yes. So that is it. You would order butter from Amazon. I don't know what's happening with that at the moment. I do have a supply at the moment. I have a supply, but you never know when it's going to get cut, and it's because of this, and it's just a ridiculous situation in a country like this in this day and age that they still have rationing for butter in Japan. And it's kind of funny. I realize this is like a theme for me, but it's not funny, okay? It's just not. It's ridiculous. I mean, this is the thing, and all these countries that want to come and save Japanese consumers and give them butter. But anyway, so I'm getting a little bit upset. Let's talk about something less upsetting. Fukushima. Again, the problem, I guess the first problem being tipped on right here is the Great East Japan earthquake, but of course it's known as everywhere as the I can't believe it's not butter. Yes, Niobia 66. That's right, it's known as the Great East Japan Earthquake, but of course everywhere else in the world it's known as Fukushima, which, is really a very, very small part, although it's had a lasting effect, of course. By the numbers, let's talk about it, because this isn't Fukushima by the numbers, it's the Great East Japan Earthquake by the numbers, but that's right, there were 16,000 deaths, 2,500 still missing, and which you'd have to say are presumed dead, so, it's very big in scale. It's funny, actually, 6,000 injured. I guess injured doesn't really mean very much when people are either drowned and swept away or not. Although it's kind of hard to differentiate, I guess, between, from the earthquake and from the tsunami. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I did a long video about this, actually, on the anniversary on March 11, which was on Friday. I uploaded a video talking about that, and I've got the links on here as well in my Flipboard magazine. I've actually got a video which I recorded kind of summarizing the situation. I took a month to do it, but I did it back in 2011 in April, and I did my own video of what it was like at that exact time, and I did a little bit more of a reflective video with maybe some more updates and a little bit more perspective on Friday, so you can check out those for more detail about my experience of that day and the weeks that followed and what was going on. But yes, indeed, by the numbers, there are still so what do we have here? 470,000 people had to leave their homes, and this is not just because of radiation, right? This is just because of the biggest earthquake in history. Today, the 174,000 displaced are mainly because of the earthquake, of the radiation no-go zone. Look at that, although you could say that perhaps the Indian Ocean tsunami, which took over 100,000 lives, was bigger in terms of loss of life. It is the largest economic disaster in history, $235 billion. It's been big, and it's going to take a long time to recover. My family was also affected by the Christchurch earthquake that happened about 3 weeks before the Japan earthquake at the same time. And my uncle's house hopefully is about to be rebuilt. The reconstruction will finish. It's taken 5 years, but hopefully it will be done probably next month or maybe even this month. But yeah, and people are missing because half the stuff that got swept up from Fukushima ended up in Alaska on the west coast of America. So who knows where those people ended up. But yeah, it's very sad for, especially in Japan, putting the body to rest, or at least having the funeral ceremony with the body. Japanese don't really let go. The idea of declaring someone presumed dead is something that is very sensitive. Death is a very sensitive subject in Japanese culture. And so 5 years later, missing are still missing. No one's presumed dead or declared dead, even though you have to sort of come to terms with that. But because the culture is so reluctant to attach that label of death when it's not certain, it's very difficult for people to get closure, I guess. And it will continue to be like that for many people just for this type of disaster. Well, thank you, Shubis, for watching the video. Yes, indeed, like I said, it is quite a lot. And I would settle for Fukushima butter at the moment. It's not that radioactive up there. I mean, I guess the cows probably are. Probably isn't the best way to get butter at the moment, but yeah, it was a pretty big deal. So here is the video that I made right after the earthquake itself. This was like about a month after. It's been a very busy month, trying to keep people informed, trying to be on Twitter, trying to put up a bunch of videos around that time. But this is my first kind of summary video of what was going on, and at the time I think this was the first hour-long video that I'd ever put up. Looking back at it, it really does capture. It makes me remember what it felt like at that time. It was there was a weird kind of adrenaline that was going on. There was a lot of antagonism between the people who stayed, which included myself, and the flygenes, the gaijins who left and were telling everybody else to leave. There was anger at the media, which still continued. I think I called it scumbag media there. Mass hysteria, ureasu, which was the part of Tokyo that suffered the most. And yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive summary. It's worth checking out. Oh, and it's on the Phoenix 5. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for adding me to. And I do really appreciate what you do, Phoenix, with that Phoenix 5. Just gathering videos worth watching for people who don't have a lot of time. It's a nice way to discover channels and good content, and I appreciate that you do that. So yeah, everyone goes. So that's a good reason to subscribe to Phoenix, actually, just for his Phoenix 5 videos. So yeah, that's kind of a thing from the time, and this is my 5th anniversary video, which is about half an hour. The other one's about an hour long, but yeah, just for something that captures what it was like at the time, what was going on. And not having as much information, not being sure if it was actually a meltdown or not, was one of the key points that I talked about. And it turned out it was actually a meltdown, and I was actually wrong. But based on the information that we had, that's what I had to go on at the time. So yeah, those are two, for me, interesting videos as well to have. My old house and my new house. Yeah, definitely check that out if you want to know what it was actually like being around at the time. The opposition parties, the Democrats, who I think I've explained in detail before why I find them to be completely hopeless, and the Ishin no Kai, the Japan Restoration Party, I think the Innovation Party is what they switched their name to at some point, but they are merging and they are trying to think of a new name. So the two names that they've come down to after having this big debate about what to do when they merge parties and what name to have, the two names that they came to are Kenpo Minshuto, Riken Minshuto, which is the Constitutional Democratic Party, I think trying to kind of jab at Abe wanting to change the constitution. And the second one is taken, Shin is from progressive, and means democratic. The first character that you can see there, that's Democrat. For the second one is a 3-character one, say Min Shinto, Democratic Progressive Party, which is actually also the name of the main of the main opposition party. I think, in fact, now they're government in Taiwan. And it's kind of funny. I saw there was something here saying that the Taiwanese opposition are not happy that it might reflect badly on them with the Japanese Democratic Party using their name. But they're going to have a vote on that this week based on one of those two names. I don't know. If it's going to be one of those, I'd prefer Min Shinto. I don't like these convoluted mixed names. And the Rikento, I mean, everything is Riken, Min Shinto. So yeah, I prefer, for me, my vote is for Min Shinto. But which do you think is better, the Constitutional Democratic Party or the Democratic Progressive Party? Put your votes in. Why not do a vote in it? We've got the Riken Minshuto or the Min Shinto. I like Min Shinto myself if you have to go either way, but frankly it doesn't matter because they have to actually offer something that people want to vote for, and they're not doing that. So that's what you got there. What do we got here? There is, at the moment, the largest number of foreign residents ever in Japan, and I want to read it, but it won't let me. Here we go. So according to NHK, the number of foreigners in Japan, currently there are 2.23 million foreigners in Japan, the highest number ever, although they also point out there's also an increasing number of overstayers. So let's have a read of this. So the number of foreigners in Japan is currently around, in fact I can read it straight ahead, can't I, because it's on the screen at the moment, 2.232 million foreigners, according to latest statistics. And while this is the greatest number ever, also the number of illegal foreigners in Japan, estimated to be at 63,000, has also increased for 2 years in a row now. So according to the Ministry of Justice, which oversees immigration, yeah, there is this number, which is basically, 110,000 more than last year. So the number of foreigners in Japan is growing. Of those foreigners, the Chinese make up the greatest number of foreigners, and this is foreign. This is based on nationality. Mainland Chinese, 665,000. Number one. Number two is South Korean, 457,000. I think that also includes Zainichis, by the way. Number three is Philippines. Filipinos. There are 229,000 Filipinos in Japan. On the other hand, there are also people here for increasing numbers of people here for short stays as tourists and so on. And apparently some of these people overstay the time that they're allowed in the country on short-term visas, and those numbers of overstayers last year increased by 2,811 to 62,000 people, which is apparently the highest number of overstayers in Japan was at 300,000. Well, which was back in Heisei 5, which I guess is 1993 now. It's a long time ago now. But so this is 22 years. This is the biggest increase in 22 years at the moment. It's nowhere near the record. But yeah, they're making a big deal about overstayers. Yes, just that the number has gone up by 30% since last year is alarming. So I don't know why they're making such a big deal about overstayers. It has increased by 30% in the last year. But that said, the overall number, 2.23 million, is a record number, and that includes me. So there you go. It's kind of interesting that foreigners are continuing to grow in number. A good article here on why Tokyo is home to so many cyclists but so few bike lanes. And I think what it comes down to is Tokyo is a very convenient place for bicycles, but there's a bit of a social contract that happens that basically people don't ride like maniacs, and in exchange for that, people are allowed to ride on footpaths and so on. And it is generally kind of safe, relatively safe for pedestrians and cyclists, provided that, but it's kind of a bunch of social contracts. But there's an interesting article about that here. I think Tokyo is a great city for cycling. I enjoy cycling on my big mamachari myself, but that said, it's in a way, I would love for there to be more dedicated bike lanes and for it to be a little bit safer and so on, but at the same time, people, there's a kind of a social contract that goes on. Everyone rides around on these old-fashioned bicycles and gives way to pedestrians and so on. It kind of works, but indeed it does. When accidents happen, police do make a big deal about it. So interesting to see the reactions, by the way, in the comments on the name. Hiko's talking. You can comment anytime there. But so I see some people like Democratic Progressive. The constitutional thing just seems a bit convoluted to me, that's it. But yes, indeed, Tokyo is flat. In Japan, most cities, they actually build to be very flat. They don't, because in Japan you get typhoons and stuff, which can lead to mudslides and so on if you have those. So yeah, it's a nice little video and a story there just talking about the subject of why Tokyo's has so many bicycles and not so many bike lanes. And it's just that people are not dicks. People don't. You do have the road bikers, the people who put on the full body lycra and go off into the mountains and ride down the middle of the road just like you do in Western countries. But there's also a lot of room for kids and mums and old people and people doing their shopping on bicycles that you don't really get in Australia and New Zealand because it's just too dangerous for normal cyclists to do that. That's kind of what's nice here. Need More Ghost says you always seem to get cut off by cyclists on the footpath. Well, yeah. I mean, bear in mind, cyclists are allowed to be on the footpath. Well, more or less. I think the actual, and that's partly Bakushedo. That's because they have actual dedicated, quite good cycling infrastructure over there. And people ride like idiots, whereas here, well, some people ride like idiots, but that's it. I think the police recently actually tightened up the rules. And I think you're not allowed to cycle on a footpath that's like less than 6 meters wide or 3 meters, or 4 meters or 6 meters or something. Mr. Cordy Chip, I'm sorry to hear that you got smashed up by some bicycles. This was in Japan, or was this overseas? But anyway, that of course sucks. And when that happens, that's why the police crack down, as they do periodically on cyclists. Really interesting article in Forbes. This is tweeted by Rochelle Cobb. She talks about the problem. I don't know, I'm posting it, but I'm not necessarily endorsing it. One, there's a list there, Toyota, Takata, and TEPCO, and they're talking about scandal-ridden Japanese companies. They all start with T, it sounds good. TEPCO, of course, the problem with the nuclear plant and taking a long time to admit to what happened, and Takata, of course, with the airbag thing. I don't know that Toyota deserves to be on that list. I know that they have Toyota on that list because of the braking thing, but I think Toyota was actually pretty good reacting to that, actually. And in fact, they reacted very, they did the recall and everything and went into Congress and did all of the stuff that they were supposed to do, even though it turned out that, there wasn't actually a problem with the car. Naranagi, there's a good question there about skateboard regulation. I don't know. I do know, you don't see many skateboarders in Tokyo. The few that I know use longboards. Again, I think it's this kind of thing, so long as you're kind of responsible in how you go about it, you won't get too much hassle about it. I've never heard of anyone getting pulled up for it, but there again, I've never seen anyone really testing the boundaries of that. By the way, having with Fit Grey 62, I see that you're there, good to see you. I don't know anyone really testing the boundaries like kids do, obviously, in New Zealand and Australia, so I don't know if there's any specific regulations around it or not. yeah, I don't know. People in the comments question if you've got that, but I know people who longboard, surf, skateboard, and they seem to do okay. Nicholas Rapp, congratulations on the flat tire. Good on you. But yeah. No. So Elvening, they ride on the footpath mostly. Some people ride on the road, but the police will sometimes actually say it's too dangerous to ride on the road. And if you're on one of those bicycles with kids on the front and back, you ride on the footpath. It's safer. I ride with my kid on all the time as well. Boosted boards. Well, see, now we're getting into motorized. Well, segways are illegal, so I think boosted boards, like I assume you mean like motorized stuff. I think are not. And Yoyogi Park, well, they're tough on everything. They're tough on kicking a soccer ball. They're tough on juggling. They're tough on mimes. And they're tough on everything at Yoyogi Park. So yes, that's not really the right place. Nice to see the information there at the moment. Actually, skaters hang out by Miyashita in the evening. I don't know where Miyashita is, but there we go. That sounds like something good. And yes, of course, you don't want a longboard in a place where it's crowded, just like you don't want to ride a bicycle like a maniac, I guess. There's another thing about the name, but anyway, there's an article here which just talks about someone, I don't know quite how. It's interesting. Rochelle Kopp did post it. He puts a few kotowaza on and tries to show how knowledgeable he is about Japanese culture, and I think some of the points are valid. A cultural aversion to open disagreement and so on, perhaps, but at the same time, I think some of the names that were on there were kind of slapped together a little bit, but it's an interesting read just from a cultural thing. The Sunwolves, by the way, I gotta say, I would have rushed out to be the first person to buy the Japanese Super Rugby team uniform, but it's orange and it's got a picture of a wolf on it, and there aren't any wolves in Japan, and it doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't like it. It's not cool. The team, the Sunwolves, they played a really good game. They have been forced to play the extra team position, which the Japan team got accepted for to be added to the Super Rugby competition. They were competing against Singapore, and it was again a condition, a bit like the Soccer World Cup, where it was Japan versus Korea, and they said, well, okay, you both have to host it together. They said you can have the Japan team, you can have a team, but you have to play some of your games in Singapore. So 3 of the Sunwolves home games are in Singapore, which is interesting because right now it's today was 8 degrees in Tokyo, and it's 28 degrees or 30 degrees in Singapore where they played their game. The Sunwolves have suffered a bit because they didn't come together. The Japanese Rugby Union was so disorganized that they didn't have any preseason preparation, no practice games, no conditioning or anything like that. And they're not fit. They're not fit enough at the moment. They were leading by 28 points to 11 at half time, but they ended up losing by 32 to 31, which was a shame. They played a pretty good first half, but they just weren't physically there in the second half. It was partly because the Cheetahs put on some big South African muscle in the second half. I think they were probably holding back some of their best players, perhaps in the first half to have a look at the Sunwolves. But the Sunwolves played really, really well. I think they put 4 tries on them in the first half. But the Cheetahs, they're a good outfit. I've got some friends who are Cheetahs fans, and they came back very well in the second half. But I think they just showed that they're just in better condition, which is a shame. But what sort of a home game is it that you're that far away from home and you have to play in tropical heat? So yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, there we go. Doesn't Japan have an extremely small, possibly extinct population of very small wolves? I don't know. Maybe they do. In fact, maybe someone knows about this. But yeah, I've never heard of them. I think they could have done better with the name anyway. I mean, the Samurais would have been a little bit obvious, perhaps, but then they could have done something. I don't know, the Salarymen. I'd love to see the Japan Salarymen rugby team. Better than Sunwolves. Anything is better than Sunwolves. Sponsored by butter. How will you ever call yourself South African again? What do you mean? I don't get that. I don't know if you're a Cheetahs fan or not, but congrats on the 1-point win. But yes, unfortunately, I don't know. I'm hoping that the Sunwolves will get their first win soon anyway, and it's really nice for me to be able to see a local team in my favourite rugby competition with all the New Zealand teams. So yeah, I don't know. Caroline Van Oostendeborg finds the cycling on the sidewalks in Japan highly annoying since you're used to cycle paths everywhere in Holland, but we don't have the cycle paths here. I don't know, everyone can do it. I do it. It's just local rules. But yeah, they almost won anyway. It's very frustrating, and I think they'll be close. The Reds, where Goromaru, by the way, is playing, he's not been put on the bench, and the Reds suck this year, the Queensland Reds. So it'll be really interesting. I'm really hoping, though, based on what they're showing, that the Sunwolves will get a win first. We'll get a first win soon anyway. And by the way, Blaine Dell, good to have you along there. It's the first time I've spotted your name, so good to have you along. I was in Akiba today. I took a photo. In fact, maybe I can... Oh, I probably can't show the photos. I've got family photos and stuff in there. But I took a photo of Akiba. And I love this Dreamscope filter where I converted it into this. This was a good photo, actually, just to begin with. But yeah. Oh, right, of course. SA lost against Japan. Well, that was a fantastic game, though. Well, that last 10 minutes of that game was legendary, and you have to suffer from that. But try being an All Blacks fan, and geez, try being in a French rugby team and being forced to watch all the times that France has beaten New Zealand. I mean, everyone's best game in history is some game where they beat New Zealand. So believe me, I'm used to it. But I'm sorry, South Africa. Now you have to experience the same thing that we had. I don't know. I think the salaryman, there are some really interesting uniform possibilities with that. What I've been talking about all along, there is this company called Big Screen, which is developing virtual reality software to basically emulate screens. So that exactly what I want from virtual reality and what I would get virtual reality for. And they actually point out that, this was Akiba today. I took it with this awesome Dreamscope filter, and it came out pretty nice. But yes, so they point out one problem is that when you're setting up a game, for Oculus Rift, for example, you have to take off the headset and look at your computer screen and set it up and then put on the headset. But they figured out that actually, the big screen, the first thing they do is if you're playing VR games, you can actually make a virtual screen appear inside the game so you don't have to take off the headset. But why stop at that? And this is what they're talking about. They're actually, Engadget was covering the story talking about, yes, they are launching applications just based on creating emulated screens all around, which is what I really, really like. 1966, England. That is the only time that England won the World Cup on a false goal or something, right? That's right. I think that's also the tournament that North Korea got through to, like the semi-finals, right? Something like that. And they beat the Italians to get there. This is hilarious. This is funny. So this is apparently there is a one of the many tourism campaigns being done around Asia. They have these two kind of Japanese entertainers, a combination duo. I don't know if they're actually comedians or not. I actually don't know them, but apparently there are these photos of them traveling all around. Lovely looking couple, basically, two sort of men who travel around Japan, and these are used as tourism posters for Taiwan. If you can read the Japanese, you know where this is going. Apparently, people who saw this poster in Taiwan said, "Isn't it wonderful how open Japan is that they actually use these kind of bear-shaped gay guys for promoting their tourism campaigns?" And when this was discovered by the Japanese internet, that this is being interpreted in China as two teddy bear type gay guys, a gay couple traveling around Japan. Most of the Japanese internet, although laughing, added a lot. WWW means LOL. Most pretty much agree that that's exactly what it looks like. I mean, look, they're in an onsen. They're sharing ice cream. They're walking together. They've got fabulous fashion sense. I mean, it is quite funny actually. And why not? I mean, they get to travel the whole country and hang out and share hotel rooms together, and it's all good. It's all good in the hood. And the fact is that these Taiwanese just think, isn't Japan just a wonderful, open, liberal country that they have these guys promote that way? I thought this was funny, and so I just put it there. But good on you guys. Keep just be you. That's what you should do. Be you. So yes, I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe less positive news, but I put it on here. I just found this today. Apparently, the latest cabinet survey, which does surveys of the impressions of Japanese, how Japanese feel about other countries, and these are also done about Japan. 83.2% of Japanese people surveyed have an unfavorable view towards. In fact, they do not feel a favorable feeling towards China at the moment. The lowest ever recorded. China's been pretty prominently blaming Japan for the decline in relations, for their criticism of their behavior in the South China Sea and so on. But Japan is right. So kind of sucks on both sides, I guess. But that said, there's record tourism coming here, so it's kind of weird that it's gone down that far, I guess. But that is Wildfire 777. Thank you for the correction that they are comedians. Well, the joke, I guess, was kind of on them this time, but but it's all good. I actually like the narrative of seeing those holiday pics as them being a teddy bear gay couple like traveling to Japan. I find that actually a much more compelling tourism story, actually. No, it's not a Canada story. It's China, not Canada. Although, look out, because they're going to build that wall. That is all the topics that I have for tonight. But, we've got 10 minutes, and I was playing around making a track just before this, so I haven't been making music lately. I haven't been feeling it. So, let me set this up, and let's try and make some tunes. So, let me put that there, and put that on there, and not make it too loud. Let's do an outro. Let's do some music, and that's it. Any questions? Any more topics? Maybe tourism is the reason. I don't know. Maybe it could be. It could be. Let me put this over here. That light is reflecting a bit too much, so let's turn that off. Boom. And this is looking a bit foggy. Well, so let's I haven't seen the Babel Machine. Thoughts on Donald Trump's statements about China, Japan? Kind of crazy. Everything he's saying, he's just trying to grab attention, but I don't know. Honestly, nothing he says is really worth taking seriously. He's treating the election like a reality show. And what scares me is that this is a reality show that has 300 more days. So, yes. So, it's just going to get worse and worse, I guess. But yeah, it's really like a Fox, like a VH1 reality show, the whole election at the moment, which is kind of sad. Stratus, what was it? You know, since I got to Japan, it was always Hiko since I came to Japan. In New Zealand, I tried Psycho for a while. S-A-I-K-O, but that was a bit lame. But yeah. I didn't see Nigahiga in anime in real life, not at all. That's pretty cool. So that's the outro. Boom. I just did that, making it up as I went along. Came out okay, I think. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for hanging out. This is, yeah, awesome to see you, Wall Straker. Thank you for enjoying the tune. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, I'll be back next week, as I am back every week with Tokyo Tonight, Sunday, 11 PM Japan Standard Time. And 2.5 Oyajis every Saturday night. Although it's a bit tough doing 2 on the weekend, so we might reschedule that sometime. But we've had some good ones lately, and we'll be back with that. Have a good week this week. Have a good White Day tomorrow. And an excellent hanging out. Remember, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, all that stuff to check up with all of the stories that I show on this show and more. And follow my Flipboards, and see you next week. Thank you for joining me, and have a good one. Peace. Boom. I'm glad you found some inspiration from it, Tyler. Cool. Okay, let's turn this thing off. There it is. Click the button. Where's the mouse? Here it is. Stop streaming. Boom. Yes, I want to stop. Not all.